Hello everyone, and welcome to a video series that absolutely nobody asked for, where I'm going to review all of the mainline Assassin's Creed games up until Odyssey, unless of course the Viking game they're making is out by the time I finish this, which knowing Ubisoft it probably will be. For our first video, I shall be returning to where it all began, Assassin's Creed. The first one, the game, not the movie. Although I might review the movie someday, maybe, probably not. Be ready, because there's gonna be quite a bit to talk about here. Considering the game is over 12 years old by this point, I want to say that the story is out of spoiler territory, but just in case, you're free to skip this section if you don't want anything spoiled. In this game, we play as a guy with the flattest booty known to mankind, Desmond Miles. Desmond was born at the Assassin Order, but ran away when he was a teenager and left everything behind. It didn't work out, and he ended up getting kidnapped and held hostage at a research facility owned by a company called Abstergo Industries, which basically owns everything. Warren Vidic, the evil scientist guy, and Lucy Stillman, the friendly scientist woman, tell you that they're looking for information that only your ancestor Altair has, and because of this they put you inside the Animus, which is basically just a full VR video game system where you will relive Altair's memories until they get the information that they seek. After breaking the tenets of the Order and fighting off a horde of crusaders, Al-Mualim, the old man of the mountain, demotes Altair into just a regular novice assassin, but gives him the chance to recover his rank by killing several very specific targets, each of which is based off of a real life person, by the way, not very accurately most of the time. And eventually Altair learns what all of his targets have in common, sets off to kill Robert de Sable, Sabalabadingdong, which he does fairly easily. And then also King Richard is there for some reason. I don't know why he's there, he's just there. Altair learns from Robert that Al-Mualim actually betrayed the Order and was going to use the Apple of Eden to usher in a new world order. Altair kills him with slight effort and lots of knives. Lots and lots of throwing knives. Altair recovers the apple, which activated and opened a map showing the locations of all the pieces of Eden, and then the memory ends. Desmond finds out Abstergo is just a modern-day front for the Templar Order, and that he is basically going to be executed. He's saved at the last minute by Lucy, who doesn't really do much, he just says don't do it. And they're like, alright, cool, we won't do it. Desmond's now trapped in Abstergo, but alive, luckily. And because of an effect known as the bleeding effect, which is caused by prolonged exposure to the Animus, he's able to see the bloody messages left behind by the previous user of the Animus, Subject 16. And then the game just ends. We don't get any sort of ending, it just ends. You just turn on Eagle Vision, you see the bloody message on the wall, and the game ends. And that's actually it. The gameplay of Assassin's Creed 1 can really be divided into two parts. Desmond's section and Altair's sections, both of which play pretty differently. So we're going to start with Desmond's section, since there's less to do. The main gameplay is walking around, talking to people, and trying to figure out what's going on. There's not that much exciting stuff to do. You can just read emails or listen to what people say through walls. And I mean, I give them credit for trying to think of something for Desmond to do, but in all honesty, it might as well not even put him in there, because there's not much to do. You can enter or leave the Animus at any point in time, which is good for when you need a break from all of it, but once again, there's not that much stuff you can do as Desmond. Altair's sections, on the other hand, are where the main gameplay comes in, and where the game is its good side and also shows its age in comparison to the other games in the series. It's an open world sandbox title. You can ride a horse, not in towns mind you, climb buildings, stab people, throw knives, steal knives, want to kill annoying beggars who don't ever leave you alone, but you can't because Altair didn't do that, and you can collect a bunch of optional stuff that nobody's ever going to do. The game operates on a stealth system where if the symbol in the corner is the Abstergo logo, you're unseen. If it's open and it shows an eye, you are seen. The white eye means they're unaware of your presence and you're free to do whatever you want. A yellow eye means they are on alert and will attack if provoked or given a reason. And the red eye means they are actively trying to kill you and if you do anything that brings them attention. Each button on the controller relates to a certain body part and their functions will change between high and low profile. So, in low profile, pressing the button corresponding to your legs will make you walk faster, but in high profile, this will make you run, and I'm really just saying free run here because no one ever used it to jump. You get 4 weapons throughout the game. The hidden blade, which allows for silent public kills, and as long as you're in low profile, don't hang around too long afterwards or people are going to know you did it, and don't do it in the presence of guards. Just use common sense there. A sword, which deals a good amount of damage but is slow, and has a smaller deflection window. A dagger that's faster and deals less damage, but has a longer deflection window. And then your fists, which are really only good for punching things. And then you also get some throwing knives, but those are more for assassinations than actual combat, and they kind of come in handy, because most enemies that aren't assassination targets will die from 1 or 2 knives. So standing on a rooftop and then just throwing a knife for the guy is a really good way to avoid being detected. Every main story sequence in the game can be broken down into 4 main sections. 1. Al-Mualim tells Altair who his target is. 2. Altair goes to that location. 3. Altair gathers location on his target. And 4. Altair assassinates the target. That's it. That's the whole game. You do that 9 times, and then you're done. I mean, okay, there are a few sections outside of this at the beginning and at the end, but for the most part, that's the game. As you probably figured out, gathering information is the main target here. And this is where the missions really are. You'll walk through the city and you'll have a mission to, eavesdrop on a guy, and then you'll sit on a bench and listen to what he says, and he'll be all like, oh, you know that guy? Yeah, I hear he likes to hang around the north side of town, and then, or it's like, oh, you find an info broker, and he's like, yeah, I have a map you want, but I'll only give it to you if you can prove yourself to me. Go and collect these maps, and then you run around the flag and collect the maps, and you're done here. As a guess, it's not really too complex. But after gathering 3 or 4 pieces of information, you can unlock the assassination mission, then you can kill your target, and you'll be done with that memory block. Or if you want, you can complete the rest of the missions in the chain to get 100% synchronization for that memory block, and also sometimes make the assassination easier. So for example, Jubair al-Hakim, I probably butchered that explanation, has multiple decoys set up and they all show up on your mini-map. But looking at the other maps and notes you collected during your mission, you can narrow this location down, which avoids alerting extra guards and making the mission even longer. In addition to the main memories, you also have optional memories. They can increase your sync rate. This gives you more health, or maybe it makes the game easier, such as dispatching allies that can halt a guard's progress if they chase you. These optional memories can range from protecting citizens from guards, climbing up viewpoints to reveal more of the map, and collecting flags scattered throughout different areas in the game. And then assassinating Templars that just hang out guarding a treasure chest, I guess. The Templars will attack you on sight, so try not to be seen. But yeah, they don't do much, they just kind of stand there guarding a treasure chest. I don't know what their purpose is, they just stand there. I wonder if they're just like, hey guys, you hear Altair's in town? He'll show up eventually. Just wait. Obviously, with this being an open world game, the world itself is going to be one of the most important parts. And climbing up a viewpoint to look out and see the Holy Land in all its glory is one of the reasons why this game is still fun to play to this day. Obviously, it aged over the 12 years since release, compared to how Masyaf and Akre look in later games in the series. And especially, I'm emphasizing this here, compared to Origins and Odyssey. Both of which look really amazing, and I'm pretty sure the Viking game coming out is going to look really great too. that's just something you have to get used to with video games. No matter how good it looked in a few years, it's going to show its age. Even if it still looks good, it's obviously going to be old. This game's color palette does not help very well because it's really drab colors. And while that does allow it to hide that age to a point, I would prefer brighter and more vibrant colors. I mean, especially when we look out over the horizon of Jerusalem, and it's like, oh, all the grass that was bright green when close up looks faded and kind of like grayish green to my eyes from a distance. But luckily, the world itself is filled with plenty of things to keep you busy. Between free running across the buildings, protecting the citizens, climbing viewpoints, assassinating Templars, and collecting flags, it can stretch out the length of the game's fairly short story mode and turn it into a pretty decent sized game. Just sadly, you don't have much of a reason to do that stuff after you beat the story, because there's no incentive to do that optional content. There's no side missions or reason to collect those flags, which means that once you beat the game or get max health, you don't really want to go back to find them, especially since they aren't marked on the map. It's kind of sad to see such a beautiful level of detail, and I think it looked better than Assassin's Creed 2, just saying. But it just makes a big mistake of not giving you any actual missions outside of the story. While I do enjoy the game, it was repetitive even upon release. The lack of post-game content, side missions, or any way to track collectibles on the map means the game itself is far more dated than any other game in the series. The missions themselves, every mission, was repetitive. Because if you're trying to 100% a memory chain, it will take, about an hour to say, I'm going to climb all the towers in this section, rescue all the civilians in this section, and then do all of the information followed by the assassination. That takes about an hour. So, even assuming you're going for the short end of the spectrum, that's 3 missions, sometimes 4, out of the 6 required. So you're doing, I'm gonna pickpocket this guy, listen to that guy on the bench, and then collect flags for that guy. You do that 3 times, you assassinate your target. You turn around, you do it all over again. And you turn around and do it all over again. So yeah, you beat the game in like 4 hours, and it was 4 hours of doing the same thing over and over and over. There's no way to make it not repetitive. Even the free running and the assassinations that the series were known for is dated in this game. You don't have ledge assassinations. You don't have double assassinations. You don't have poison or poison darts. You don't have the ability to assassinate from a hiding place. You don't have ranged weapons. I mean, you have the throwing knives, and they're kind of overpowered in this game. You can't do any of the cool parkour techniques got introduced in the later games, like jumping while climbing to reach a higher spot. Tracking down all the Templars to kill is annoying because there's just way too many of them, and they're not marked on the map. Same thing goes for all the flags. I know everyone's angry at Assassin's Creed 2 because it's like, collect 100 feathers. But at least Assassin's Creed 2 it was smart enough to tell you, hey, you can do this. Assassin's Creed 1 doesn't. It just tells you, here are flags, there are this many in Jerusalem, there are this many in Acre. It doesn't do much else. So it's really annoying, and then you have to combine it with the fact that there's no incentive to any of this after you get full health. The game itself, while still looking good graphically, clearly got older. I mean, that's a fact of life. But once again, if they made the color just a little bit brighter, and if they gave this game the remastered treatment, it would probably look a lot better. But then we just still have the rest of the problems with the game. The Kingdom. I know every Assassin's Creed game has these moments, but the Kingdom is just not very fun. It's big and empty. There's barely anything to do except ride your horse to one of the other locations. Because, once again, none of the collectibles are marked, so unless you like running around trying to find all the flags and the Templars hiding around, there's nothing to do. The only optional memories are climbing the viewpoints. But, once again, there's no missions, so why climb the viewpoints? I would prefer to just skip this area whenever the game gave me the choice, because there's nothing to do here. I understand it's supposed to be like your hub area, but it is not a good place to do anything. There's not even that many opportunities for free running, because the majority of the time you are going to be on your horse going from point A to point B. This is not good. In the end, I can't really recommend this game to anyone that isn't a fan of the series. Desmond's story in this game gets a recap at the beginning of Assassin's Creed 2, and with the Ezio collection being on newer hardware, even with those games being better in general, I'd probably tell people who want to play these games to start there. I want to give the game a 7 or 8 because of the story, and because even though the gameplay was repetitive and it made sense considering what the story was, in the end it just isn't enough. The game is far too dated compared to the sequels, and you just can't ignore it. That's why my final rating for the game is a 5 out of 10. A 50%. An F. I really wish they'd do like a full remake of this game someday. A remaster that only made the graphics prettier wouldn't do it justice. But a full remake where they change the gameplay to be more accurate to the later games. We add some side missions, and we find a way to mark collectibles on the map to make it look prettier. Maybe even have some story within these missions, like they removed an assassin traitor from the game due to time constraints. They kept him in the game as an Easter egg, but imagine an entire side mission focusing on pinning this guy down. Maybe have the help civilian quest be more than show up, kill the guards, and have it end. Maybe when we have an assassination target, give that target some character development. Have it be, oh, this guy's burning all the books in town. Before you get him and you kill him, instead of just showing up and gathering information, have there be several required missions where, in addition to, doing basic stuff like gathering information, you stumble across, burning books that he just burnt. You were just barely too late to stop it, but you have time. You could take down one of his enforcers. There is potential for a great open world game in there, and it just wasn't realized in 2007. I'm hoping with modern day enhancements this can be done, and we can end up with what very well might be one of the best Assassin's Creed games. This is possible. We just need to make sure that someone out there wants it.